Hi, everybody. Maria Rekrut here from All Things Real Estate, and we're going to be talking about foreclosures. I know that's a topic that all well balanced and experienced real estate investors want to know more about the foreclosures. Is that something we should be looking at? How difficult is it to find? Because I found that when I call up about foreclosures, even the real estate agent doesn't want to be bothered. They don't even answer my phone calls, believe it or not, when I ask them about foreclosures, and they have it written right on the sign, foreclosure. They never even call me up, even though I've left 3 messages. So I have an expert, Navtaj Chandhoke, who is the expert of foreclosures, among many, many other things. Navtaj, thank you for being with us. I'm so happy to have you on my show.
I'm glad you invited me over, Maria. You're doing such a beautiful job. And
Thank
one
you.
thing I like to say, I'm very proud of you. You're doing something which is very noble, education.
Yes,
And
yes,
that's incredible. No strings attached
yes.
whatsoever. And you're doing it from the bottom of the heart. I'm really proud of you, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's nice that someone recognizes it. Why I'm doing this now, Taj, because I feel it's my way of giving back, right? This
100%.
everyone has something close to their heart that they want to help. So I help the new immigrants that want to learn how to get a good job, and they would come to my office and work with me, or even online. So they would do their placement at the colleges or universities. They would do the work placement with myself. I've been doing that since 1987. And with real estate, I've always been a teacher, just like yourself. You're a teacher too, so I bow to you too. This is the way I give back to people. I won't give money, but I will give you what I've learned from me. It's the honest truth, because I've been doing real estate since 2000s, I should say. But my first house I purchased in 1988 in the town of Niagara Lake, and my second was 2000, again in Niagara Lake, and then after that I kind of opened it up to all over the Niagara region. And now, Taj, I have had the pleasure of meeting you in Toronto, meeting your lovely wife and your daughter, and attending your seminars and your workshops that you had. And I was very, very impressed. But I just couldn't make it all the time, because you're in Toronto, I'm in Niagara Lake. It's just too far sometimes, especially in the wintertime. But I've always wanted to know about foreclosures. I think everyone else wants to know too. So you're the expert. Can you go into a little bit of how you see COVID-19? Is that going to push more people towards foreclosures? Just let us know what you're thinking, Navtaj.
In all the respect, foreclosure in Canada is misnomer. We have 10 different provinces,
Mhm.
and each province, the laws are different. In the province of Ontario, we have power of sale and foreclosure. In the Western Canada is foreclosures. Just to give you a little bit of an idea what we are going through, we are going through very painful time all across Canada. 5 million Canadians are unemployed as we speak,
Yes.
and over a million people have deferred their mortgage payment with all 5 banks. And these payments are accumulating more debt for them.
Mhm.
And out of 5 homeowners, one homeowner may gonna end up losing the home either to a bank or to a private lender, and that's the painful truth.
Mhm.
One of the worst scenario is Alberta. Alberta has a curse, we call it a real estate curse. Since 2014, the prices have been going down and down and down. And one of the worst area in Alberta is Fort McMurray.
Yes.
Fort McMurray has been going through, I don't know what should I say, a really, really bad situation, from the fires to the floods to the highest unemployment, so on. And the number of foreclosures in Alberta are much, much higher. And then it comes to Saskatchewan.
Mhm.
For anybody who wants to know about where are these foreclosures are, you need to go to the source. In my opinion, the best source is Canadian Banker Association, CBA.ca. One should look into it and go under the terminology called delinquent mortgages. We need to know how many Canadians are defaulting the mortgage payment, where are they located, and then we can focus on the area accordingly. My intention, the reason I teach foreclosures in all different 10 provinces, but I focus on more or less 3 provinces. One is BC, Alberta, and Ontario. And when we teach training on foreclosure, I don't teach them. I teach them the law. I take them directly to the court office. I want them to see the real life. I want to see the homeowner. I want to see the bank. I want to see the judge. What are the remedies? What the law says. Unfortunately, I think 2, 3 days ago, a lovely lady, a realtor, a single mom, lost her property to a bank in Ottawa. And one of the worst thing was, and most of the Canadians do not realize it, the penalty, it was $30,000.
Oh, I heard about that actually.
The funny part
Mhm.
is here, I've been teaching around across Canada since 1993 in 27 different cities. And everywhere I go, including realtors, mortgage brokers, and bankers, I ask them one question, and the question is straightforward. Do you know what it'll cost you to break your mortgage in case you got a 5-year fixed mortgage? What will be the penalty? And 99.9% answer is 3 months, and they're wrong.
Okay.
What it is supposed to be is called IRD, interest rate differential, and that amount can be 30 to $70,000 on 500,000 mortgage. Yike!
Yeah.
And
Yikes.
85% of Canadians who have taken a 5-year fixed mortgage are going to pay it off earlier.
Mhm.
It means they're going to pay a huge amount of chunk of money, and that's unfortunate part of it. People don't realize that I missed one payment. I have a lot of equity,
Mhm.
and by the time it happened, power sale or foreclosure, all the equity is eaten up
Yes.
by the banks, legal fees, and the process it takes. So it's very unfortunate that we as Canadians in general go through so much pain. And my purpose of educating is to educate Canadian homeowners. Listen, you have worked so hard,
Hmm.
and I don't want you to lose all the money. And there's a better option. I always compare them in an example as a shark. I said, would you like to be eaten by a big shark or small shark? Sharks are not good. When you deal with investors,
Hear those words of wisdom from you. I remember that.
so what happens? You're dealing with let's say you're dealing with a bank. There's no mercy. When you deal
Yes.
with an investor, we'll come in. We understand it. We'll become like a family member and try to solve the situation. But investors don't work for free, and
Yes.
investors like to have a small profit margin, and they're happy with it, and we're
Hmm.
able to resolve the situation. So what I have done over a period of from last 39 years or so in the business, I've written many articles and bring awareness that there are 10 or 20 different ways to avoid foreclosure in Canada, how to avoid eviction. And
Hmm.
there's one thing I really love educating Canadians, which gives me, I would say, victory dance. When it happens, I laugh my head off, we enjoy it, we celebrate it. It's called redemption. Right to redeem your property once you have lost to the bank. How can you redeem it? And that's a
Yes.
very powerful tool. And all across Canada, you'll find the biggest number of foreclosures are right now Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and also Ontario and Quebec are not that behind. Because
Hmm.
Ontario, an average person will earn $1 and they spend $2.46. That's a
Wow.
huge gap.
Yes.
Compared to rest of the Canadians, they will earn $1 and they will spend $1.71. So I feel that in September, when
Hmm.
this handout is over, a lot of Canadian families are going to caught up. This handout going to stop. Mortgage deferred payment going to be stopped, and I believe there will be a huge rush, and a lot of people will be facing foreclosure, power sale, and I feel that this has happened in 1983. 1983, let me share something very interesting with you. Oil prices are $40 a barrel, Alberta, and overnight they drop it to $10 a barrel. We lost 128,000 jobs.
Oh my God.
Calgary became the ghost town, and you can buy the whole street. I mean, literally, everybody was leaving Alberta. It's happening right now again. And it was so painful to see all those families, all those hardworking Canadians who used to work in the oil patch, sacrificing their life. It's very tough to work in the oil
Mhm.
patch, and
Yes.
they're working so hard, and they
Yeah.
lost everything. Here is something what I'm experiencing as we speak today. I know a few families in 2014, they bought a house for 500,000 in Calgary. They put $200,000 of hard-earned money as equity. Now
Mhm.
those properties are not even selling for 250.
Oh my. Oh my goodness.
And then on top of that, when they're facing a foreclosure and they've been getting evicted, that breaks my heart. I understand it's the economy of the province, but I
Mhm.
feel that, you know what, losing 200,000 first,
Yeah.
all the
Yes.
equity, and then we can go in a lot of scenarios where we can go as investors, help them out. Hey, please don't lose this property to the bank because you're going to lose everything, and we
Mhm.
can help you out. The purpose of education to investors or to consumer is to protect, if possible, the equity, make sure they don't lose the credit. And
Mhm.
one thing which I'm absolutely against it, I'll do anything to prevent. I don't want to see any Canadian family become homeless.
Yeah, that I'm just going to interrupt. That's fantastic. So that's your mission, which is wonderful, Navtaj. I'm born and raised in Winnipeg. I'm a Winnipegger, and I remember growing up, you would hear boomer bust in Alberta all the time since I was a little girl, right? I mean, we heard it. It was just didn't happen in Manitoba, but it was rotating in Calgary since that's over 60 years ago, right? It hasn't changed. I mean, there's something wrong with we cannot stabilize the economics of what's going on in Canada. And so that's why I've never invested out there because I'm not going to take a chance. But I remember I had an investor friend, actually my mentor, who said he wanted to go out and invest in Edmonton. And that was when it was on the boom, right? And I said to him, look, I said, I would suggest you don't. I said, I'm going to tell you right now from my own experience as a little girl, where I used to see, well, he went out there, he made a couple years okay. And after that, he couldn't sell for 12 years, Navtaj. It's serious, he couldn't sell. And these were apartment buildings we're talking about that he was
You're right.
converting into condos. So it's not a joke for anyone who's an investor, and anyone can make that mistake. So what would you suggest to someone who's going into foreclosure besides, like, I know they're going to be calling you, anyone else who's involved, but can you tell us about your system, how you can help people? So if anyone's listening to this show and is going into foreclosure, maybe you could give them some insight into what they should be doing in the meantime.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to ask a question to majority of my Canadian listeners here. Majority of Canadians do not know that how many days you have to be default when the bank
Mhm.
or the lender all across Canada issue a letter or
Mhm.
demand letter. And most of the people have wrong idea because nobody have taken time to understand, and they do not know one of the biggest debt in their life. They have zero knowledge about it. Oh, I am at the bank. Okay, so how much? I don't know. Whatever the bank says. And one of the worst thing happen is as follows. You have to be minimum 15 days behind.
Mhm.
On the 16th day, it's all across Canada where a power sale or foreclosure can begin legally.
Mhm.
That's number one. But you got to notice that's the best thing to do is say, talk to the lender, talk to the investors, talk to mortgage broker. Don't deny the letter
Mhm.
and call somebody like myself or somebody else. Say, listen, I am in a situation. What can I do? Then
Mhm.
I can give them 10 different remedies. So listen, first you can talk to the bank and see what they can do for you. Is it temporary? Is for good? And and if the bank gonna sell it, there will be a lot of charges. An average Canadian who have a mortgage with a major bank may have about 25 to 30 hidden charges.
Oh goodness.
And that people are just simply paying for it. I'm not against the banks. It's just the fact is people are not aware of it. If you're aware of it, it's totally different ballgame.
Mhm. Yeah.
And when they see the first letter, they start saying, okay, what to do, what to do. And some
Mhm.
people say, I didn't know, I'm not going to open the letter. Please don't do that. Doesn't mean anything. And then they give you a redemption period, time to redeem. So you come up with a plan. They give you about 45 days in the province of Ontario. Talk to somebody. Like for example, we just going through a situation. If a piece of property got sold in the Mississauga,
Mhm.
this person doesn't even have a mortgage. It's sold under power of sale. Guess what he didn't do? He
I don't
did
know.
not pay the property maintenance fee, the condo corporation fee,
Oh,
for
okay.
5 or 6 months. So more or less, the property is worth about $500,000, and this family may be over 10,000 behind.
Okay.
Because of $10,000, the property is sold under power of sale, and that happened.
Navtaj, I think I read about it in the newspaper about the lady who ended up paying $30,000, and then I think I read the same thing that someone didn't pay condo fees and they sold it from under them.
Yes.
You know, like I'm going to ask you a question because when I sign mortgage papers, I read everything, right? And I go through it with my mortgage broker. I mean, I have to understand everything, and I do see all the charges that can come out, right? That can happen. Are you talking about there's more than just what you sign and you look at and you read? There's other hidden things that we should be asking, or is it everything's on the paper that we should be going slowly through with our mortgage broker or lawyer? Can you help me out with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one thing I ask people, please make sure you have skip a payment plan. You are allowed to skip 1 or 2 payments. Life
Okay.
happens, and
Yes.
it happens. We live in a scenario where we are not sure when we're going to have a job
Yeah.
or something can happen, especially in certain areas where economy is simply based upon one industry. For
Mm-hmm.
example, Alberta is all gas and oil.
Mm-hmm.
Even people say, oh, Alberta meat is the best, but of course it is bad. Again, oil is the main industry there.
Yeah.
And skipping a payment, that's one thing. Number two, you need to know right away, hey, what will be my penalty if I have to sell my house earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Do
Yeah.
not sign 5-year fixed mortgage,
No. Yeah.
not knowing what will it take to give me for me to get out of this transaction. And number three, one thing which I really throws me off is when the lawyer comes from a lawyer. People are afraid of the word lawyer or law.
Yes.
It's a civil matter. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a criminal matter.
Mm-hmm.
And people are so scared of going to the court and the lawyer. Lawyers are actually not bad people. They're
Mm-hmm.
pretty helpful. They have a job to do, and they want to recover the money for the lender or the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they would like to work with you. So is the private any lenders. And if you go to a good mortgage broker, experienced mortgage broker, or talk to an investor like yourself or somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
and we might be able to help them out. We have different things, whether we offer joint venture, we become a short-term lenders, or we
Mm-hmm.
buy the equity, whatever we can, we'll come up with an idea to save a situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do not want to see any family going through foreclosure because it's very painful. It ruined their credit for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I hate it when they evict them from the home. If we ever
Yeah.
do eviction in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
we wonder, is this one of the richest country? Why are we doing that?
Yes. Yes.
One, one thing I was reminded by a banker, and he said something along the line. He said, everything is for $1. You got
Yes.
the
What it
money,
is.
you got
That's
the
right.
house.
Yeah.
The moment you stop making one payment and see what happened to you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. For sure.
And that brings me to another point, which will be a little bit off the topic. I'd like to discuss it as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
I recently saw a family losing their home, unable to make a credit card payment. The house is fully paid. The house is fully paid. And the biggest mistake they have made is they missed a couple of credit card payments. And
Mm-hmm.
the credit card company, what they did was they got a judgment against the person
Mm-hmm.
and they start dissolving all their assets. It's called civil enforcement in Canada. And funny enough, that this property was worth a lot of money, and it was auctioned off
Oh.
simply for the request by the creditor, which was a credit card company.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny part of this one, this person did not know that he has all the equity and he can get a mortgage. He can pay off the credit card. He's paying
Sure.
20%.
Yeah.
And funny enough, though, by the time this whole thing happened, and we came to know later on when we gave him option, but it was a bit way too late. And
Yeah.
majority, I have a request for all the listeners, in especially to your beautiful TV show,
Thank you.
that our purpose of coming here is to educate you. If you miss a payment, please don't deny it.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out,
Yes.
talk to somebody, and there is a solution available for you. And number two is again back to the foreclosure.
Mm-hmm.
When a, when the whole thing starts, it starts with one letter, and a letter comes from the bank. Hey, you missed a payment. Please look
Mm-hmm.
after it. Come and talk to us. Whether it's a private lenders, I don't care if it's A, B, C, D lender or totally hard money lender. Majority of the lenders do not want to do foreclosure.
No, they don't. That's not their business, right?
Exactly.
They
They just
want
want to
to-
recover the money, and they
Yeah.
tell us, listen, if you got a problem, come down, talk to us, and we have a solution for you.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
And the problem in this one, again, go back to the homeowners. People say, oh, I'm afraid. What am I going to do? I don't have a job. My credit is bad. My credit cards are full, and I may not have enough equity. I don't qualify for anything else. And they start talking to mortgage brokers or bankers,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them are not aware of it, that there are other options available.
Mm-hmm.
For last 30, 40 years of my life, I would say that not even a week or two go by where we don't help at least three, four, five, or 10 families simply by talking to them on the phone and listen, why don't you do this? This is the best option you have.
Yeah.
And you become a kind of a angel investor,
Yes.
helping them. I say, what do you want? I said, do me a favor. Next time you see somebody homeless, buy them a lunch.
Yes. Yeah.
And that would be acceptable by me
Yeah.
because and they say, why are you doing that? I said, listen, you know what, we need to help each other.
Oh,
Very simple.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I run them. This is why I do these shows now, Taj. I'm not making a dime from doing this, but I want everyone to learn about financial literacy, right? I
No,
mean,
you are earning a lot more. You're earning a lot of good karma, my friend.
thank you. Well, but you know what? We don't learn in school financial literacy. I think you'd agree with that. And
100%.
certainly, do you not agree 100%? This is a problem.
100%. I agree with you. In schooling, they don't teach you what real life skills are all about. For
Exactly.
example, I have a couple of students who came to see me after doing MBA or so on, and asked them a question. Whatever they have this book knowledge, but they don't have street knowledge.
Exactly.
And occasionally, I ask my student to come with me in the court office or see an eviction
Hmm.
or see how we help families out. And they say, listen, you know what? I'd rather spend more money with you than what I did last 25 years. I said, why? What I learned in the last 25 years is understanding the basic knowledge, but the education you provide, it makes me money. It helps other people.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the key is this one, that's why we call our training is apprenticeship. So now, for example, we did apprenticeship not too long ago. No, this is many years ago, sorry, in
Hmm.
BC. And
Okay.
we took about 30 students in the court office. The judge was listening to us. We're listening to everybody. We're going back and forth. Any homeowner who is in the court, we go outside, talk to the lawyer, talk to the homeowner, say, listen, we got a solution for you. And the judge noticed that, and then he spoke to us for an hour and a half. That was only one time in my whole life where the judge spoke to all my students in BC Supreme Court.
Wow.
That happened, I think, in 2008 or 9, if I'm not correct, though.
Okay. Okay.
And the other hand, when we teach training in Alberta, I take directly all the student in the court office, or even in Ontario. And when we're taking the student directly in the court office, and then they understand the law and they understand the implementation, they understand what the homeowner rights are,
Hmm.
and then we help homeowners then and there. And a lot of people get $1 million from it. So what happened? You didn't make any money. Say, no, I have saved a homeowner. They don't have to become homeless.
Hmm.
They
Yes.
can get rid of the house. We came up with a solution. We talked to the lender, and lender is okay with it. And this is something, pure joy and happiness and like a blissful state. And
Hmm.
that's what I think investors shall do. A typical investor is not about gouging money or making money. We make money 1,001 ways,
Sure.
but helping a fellow Canadian in need, I think this is the high calling, in my opinion.
I agree 100%, right? I mean, we all make money with real estate. There's many ways we make money with real estate. But I mean, actually what happened during this COVID-19 since March, there are people like, as you know, I have homes that I rent out here in the Niagara region, and some people called me up and they said, "Look, I have a senior who needs a place to stay, and they left the senior residence and now they don't know where to go." And they said to me, "Well," I said, "So how much can they spend?" They told me. I said, "Well, I don't have a place for them, right? I don't have a place for an 80-year-old or a 70-year-old." So I said to them, "Look, this is what you do. You call up CCAC and tell them that this is an emergency situation, that they have no one taking care of them, and they will find a place for them." Because the worst thing to do is, like yourself, for someone to leave their home. I mean, this would be maybe a senior residence, whatever, but that was their home for 10 years or maybe, right? And put them into in a house that they don't know anything about it. They could fall down. That's the other thing too, is we are liable if someone's in our homes, they fall down and kill themselves or become a cripple. So I said to her, "Listen, for your sake and for their sake, why don't you go and speak to CCAC? That's their, we have wonderful government associations and businesses that can help all these people." So she says, "Well, thank you very much. I didn't realize that." So yes, we are educators. I can see you're an educator just like I am, and we're basically here to help the next person, right? Give
Exactly.
it.
Talking about our seniors, I'd like to add something to you.
Yes.
Number one is seniors. First of all, they have a lot of rights. Majority of Canadian seniors do not realize it. If they're not in good shape, if the
Mm-hmm.
bank is not good, it has become the responsibility of the city to shovel the snow for them, mow
Yes.
the lawn for them, reduce the
Mm-hmm.
property taxes. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the best thing I have not spoken yet, a little bit, let me just talk a little bit on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Any Canadian seniors who is listening to this broadcast, there's something available for you. It's called RAM program, Residential Assistance Modification Program. Under this program, you get the free money to fix up your house. If you live in the
Mm-hmm.
house for a longer time, you can have wider doors, you can have reduced kitchens, much bigger washrooms, and that assistance is available all across Canada.
Fantastic.
So I am very big on helping seniors, and these are the privileges, these are the benefit for every Canadian taxpayer. You're eligible. If you're 65 plus, you have done tremendously for this country.
Mm-hmm.
This is time for us to look after you as a country, as a taxpayers. And majority of seniors unfortunately suffer sometimes, and they don't have to, and they have the rights. And there are a lot more grants available for them. And there's one more thing I like to add.
Mm-hmm.
We have something called sandwich families. People are
Yes.
living with them, their kids, and their grandparents. And there is a program available all across Canada. If your grandparents or your parents are living with you over the age of 65, there is a special grants available for you. And this grant is also known as a is called a couple of things. Number one is called oh boy, my thought
That's
is losing.
okay. That's
Okay,
okay.
it's called oh boy. Okay, I'll come back to it. And there's
Sure.
a grant available for you where you can have your parents or anybody else parents living with the house. And again, the government of Canada is paying 100% of the cost. And this is the most cool thing.
Fantastic. And many people don't know the rights. I think this is wonderful. Maybe in the future we can talk about the rights of a senior, or someone who's at 65. I have a question for you. If you're 65, because I had a friend who's 65 years old and she went to foreclosure, unfortunately, with her property, and I wasn't able to help her at all as much as I would have loved to, right? It was just too complicated. She had three mortgages on the property, it just was out of this world. But if you're 65, is there any way that we can stop foreclosures happening, or it doesn't matter your age at all,
No,
Navtaj?
age doesn't matter because the
Okay.
obligation to the lender, you
Hmm.
are committed to make a payment in time. If you don't do so, the
Hmm.
lender have the right to claim to make sure that their investment is safe. And that's why the power of sale or foreclosures are there. But if it person happen to be a senior, There are all kind of different community grants available, and they have to look into it. If they call us up, most probably, most of the time, we're able to help
Mhm.
them out.
Okay.
And it's just we may not be able to stop the foreclosure
Mhm.
of our sale, but we can ease the burden by giving them their rights and how they can protect themselves and make sure that in case if they're losing the home, they
Mhm.
move out of the house with dignity without
Mhm.
losing the credit. And we make a reasonably good arrangement with the lender and they
Okay.
understand it. The idea is in case somebody is losing the home under foreclosure, when you come to us as investors or experts, our intention is to help both parties. We want to help the banks too at the same time, or
Mhm.
the and
Mhm.
lender feels comfortable because we act like a mediators. And they say, listen, it's going to cost you more money. Why are you going to create a problem? So it's creating a problem for me. So actually, both parties are in problem. And we came as a peacemaker.
Okay, but very smart because you have strategies that the bank don't even know about, right? I mean, again, financial literacy, they just know what they have to do, but they don't know that there's more than one way of looking at this. So we're just going to be finishing off this segment, and we're going to have you on for many more segments, Navtaj. You know, you're such a wonderful source of information. It's fantastic. So if suppose someone is going to be going to foreclosure now, or you kind of see that at the end, beginning of September, going to be seeing a lot more foreclosures, right? This is what you're predicting is going to happen. Okay, so in the meantime, besides people getting in touch with you, do you have any other advice to give them in the meantime? One of them is don't ignore the letters coming, right? I mean, that's the one thing.
Yes.
Get in touch with them, speak to them, and then find out, I guess, whatever their, and they would call you to find out what their rights are, and then you might be able to help them stay in their home by assisting with the financing of some sort. Am I correct with that?
Exactly, yeah. What happened as follows. Let me give you about a little bit more about it. When
Mhm.
somebody calls in and they lose the home, first thing I want them to tell them first, why don't you downsize everything? We'll help you out.
Okay.
If you don't have any money and you need to move out, I will take care of your first and last month rent. You
Okay.
don't worry about the money. We'll take care of you. We
Mhm.
can even take care of all your moving expenses. We can also take care of legal matters. We
Mhm.
can make sure your credit doesn't get ruined. And the idea is if you're losing it, please don't lose it all. And on top of that, some scenarios are where people have a lot of equity, but somehow they are unable to get a mortgage, which is fine. I understand that. And
Mhm.
we can do something temporarily to extend the period in case they're getting a job or something back. I have a
Mhm.
scenario which is a gentleman calling me from Renfrew, which is north of Ottawa. Very
Mhm. Yeah.
nice gentleman. He had some sickness. He was out of the job for 2 years, and everything's piled up. The banks want to do the foreclosure. I help them out. I'm sorry, power sale. They have a
Mhm.
lot of activity. We are able to hold. We have able to prolong the whole period up to 2 years. He get to live in the house. He doesn't have to lose the
Wow.
house. Now
Wow.
we made the arrangement with the bank. We got a private lender involved in it. The bank is happy. Bank has been able. We are able to change the amortization period, and it was able to reduce the payments.
Yeah.
And we made a payment with the bank if they can use skip a payment program. We
Mhm.
introduced several options to the bank, and bank agreed to half of them.
Fantastic.
The idea was he did not want to sell. I said, I don't want you. I said, I have nowhere to go. This is the house. My grandmother built
Yeah.
it. A lot of emotional value to it. We
Mhm.
understand that.
Mhm.
And he asked me a question. What's your fee? I said, cup of tea. He said, for who? I said, somebody see somebody on the street, a homeless person, just buy them a meal. That's it. He said, are you sure? I said, yes, this is our reward, helping each other. That's all. The idea is, it's just like yourself. I learned from you, by the way. I've known you for a very long time.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
I know you from a long time. You do it from the bottom of your heart.
Mhm.
And what you're doing is bringing so much awareness to people. Like I've started seeing your show recently. I think more or less, if I say more or less from March,
Mhm.
and I will watch the show even late at night.
Thank
I
you.
will not skip. I will not even go to washroom. 'Cause I don't want to miss anything. I don't like to replay. I like it in the way it is. And sometimes I feel that you give every show so much value for an average Canadian, for a lot of investors. To me, you know what? this is commendable. This is the
Thank
most
you.
commendable thing, in my opinion. You know what? You deserve more than what you're doing, but again, you're doing from the heart. That matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's tremendous, though.
Thank you. Thank you, Navtaj. Can you give us your phone number, how people can get in touch with you in the meantime? Let's say somebody who wants to become one of your apprentices to learn more about how to do foreclosures, powers of sale, and also maybe a homeowner that needs to know more information.
Yeah, let me just give you a couple of things right away. For a lot of people who do not know me, we
Yes.
teach how to buy property on pennies on a dollar without hurting anybody. And we have training coming up on this Sunday.
Okay.
And I also have a training in BC for people who learn in BC about foreclosures. We have also training for Alberta. And one of the best news is we also have a training coming up online under Power Sales in Ontario. The
Fantastic.
number you can call me directly is 416-409-7300, or more or less, if you just Google my name, you'll find me because I've been around for a very long time. And in case you don't get hold of me, please call Maria.
Yes.
She has the number.
I'll send you towards Navtaj. Don't worry about it. You can always find him on Facebook, all the social media. That's where I found you, right? And that's where I keep
Exactly.
seeing your shows coming up too. So I look forward to maybe being a participant in the upcoming show, Navtaj, and and share that with my association members. Um, and I'd like to thank you very much for being my guest today, Navtaj. We'll have you again. Don't worry about that. That's a given because not many people can talk about foreclosures in the way that you do as an educator. Not that you're trying to sell your course, but as an educator trying to help, which is basically what we do as real estate investors, right? I mean, that's what it's all about as teachers. And not that we don't make money, we will make money, but that's not our number one goal. I mean, money is there. I can refinance a property and there's my money. I'm finished, right? So Navtaj, thank you so much for being my guest. Navtaj is a very experienced Canadian real estate investor, has been investing since 1981. He's a coach, cash home buyer, speaker. Navtaj is the founder of the Professional Real Estate Investors Group, which is called PREG Canada. Look at his websites, flippingforprofit.ca, pregcanada.com, and governmentgrantscanada.ca. You can see it all down there. It's going there, so you can't miss you. And I want to thank you very much for being my guest today, Navtaj. And everyone, please go to my YouTube channel. It's called Real Estate Media News Network. It's at the very top. You will see this show on there. This show will be on my podcast. It'll also be on my radio show, All Things Real Estate with Maria Rekrut. So I want to thank you once again, Navtaj. Have a great day. Enjoy
Right.
this lovely weather. And I say hello from Niagara Lake, and you're in beautiful Toronto. I hope you're enjoying the wonderful weather. Today's been a breath of fresh air. So we were discussing all about foreclosures with Navtaj from Toronto, Ontario. So I'm going to say goodbye to everyone and join in my show tomorrow at 3:00 also. I do a show every single day, 5 days a week with wonderful guests just like Navtaj. These are real educators. We're not here to try and sell courses. We do have courses, but we're here actually to help and educate. So I'm going to say goodbye, Navtaj.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Take
Okay.
care. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now.